Hey everybody, welcome to Ask the Anabolic Doc, starring Dr. Thomas O'Connor and brought to you by his websites, anabolicdoc.com and metabolicdoc.com, both of which you can get his book, America on Steroids, A Time to Heal, also available on amazon.com. How are you, good doctor? How are you today?
Excellent, Ron. Another beautiful week, nice and warm up here.
Oh, yeah.
Very happy.
Okay, so we had discussed a few months back that I was going to be getting the full battery of heart tests to make sure, I want to make everything. I felt fine. I still feel fine, but I feel it's my responsibility as someone, A, who has a family, children, and B, who's definitely abused steroids, because anything beyond TRT use is abuse, and I've abused them on and off for 20 years now. So I went ahead and got an echocardiogram. I got a stress test. I got the full battery.
And the calcium
score, yeah. And I forwarded all that to you. So this is where I ask your professional opinion. How am I, Doc? Am I going to be 110?
You're limited to 110, and you're
Yes.
loving every minute. You need to get a big poodle and a little poodle, and you'll be all set. And a mountain bike.
No,
Okay.
no mountain bike, no.
I know. You're a gym rat. Well, you're still too young. Your 50s, we'll talk.
Okay.
All right, here's the deal. So, and I know we've talked about what your doctor said. So you went to go see cardiology doctors directly at Brigham and Women's, or was it Mass General?
Brigham and Women.
Yep.
That's where I went to have the scan.
Okay.
That was what do you call that?
The echocardiogram.
The echo, where they scanned everything.
And you had the coronary calcium score too.
Correct. And then the stress test and my cardiologist, they work out of Beth Israel Deaconess in
Beth Israel.
Needham. Yeah.
So I'm just saying, because that's big H.
Yeah.
These are some smart guys.
Yeah.
And the good news is they took you in. Did they give you a hard time?
The only resistance I seemed to get in any of this was when I did my stress test. The technician who was monitoring the scan of the heart, he kept giving me these distasteful looks, as if I looked too healthy like I was wasting his time. Like, what are you doing here? I don't know. Do you have something better to do? Isn't he paid by the hour anyway? I don't know. But
You're there to show off, right, and spend money.
Right.
But did the doctors themselves? It says in the write-up that you're a known steroid user.
Oh, does it say known steroid?
It says, or it says, because they do write that up.
Yeah.
It said it somewhere about past medical history, testosterone, and I thought it said something about steroids.
No, it probably did. Yeah.
But did they scowl down on you at all?
No, my cardiologist, who has a full head of gray hair, but it turns out he's only 37 years old.
Oh, wow.
He didn't like me asking how old he was, because I think young doctors get upset because you might think that they're inexperienced because they're so young.
Yeah.
And maybe older doctors, I guess they'd have to be really old, get upset because maybe they're too old and they're starting to get senile and they shouldn't be practicing medicine anymore. Yeah, so where is the sweet spot? I guess like a 50-year-old doctor right there. That's it.
So what? But why are you coming in? Do they say why are you here, sir? The anabolic doc sent me in.
No, I was a little upset that my cardiologist hadn't heard of you. Like, dude, where have you been? You got to check this guy out. But no, I said this is me being proactive, me being responsible. My own father passed away when I was only 16, and my kids are 18 and 24, and I want to be around a long time. So knowing that I've done potentially hazardous things to my health, I thought it would just be the right thing to do, to come in and see what everything was doing. But
did you tell them? Did you tell them this?
Yes, I did. And he was cool with it. He was very, very cool with it.
That's what I'm trying to get out, Ron. Yeah. So you go to Boston, you go to a major medical center with some of the best doctors in the world,
yeah.
And you told them you're on steroids and you're a dad. You want to get checked out and see if you're healthy, and they did.
Yeah, exactly.
And your insurance paid for most of it, right?
Correct. I'm getting little bills here and there.
Come on.
Yeah.
Let's spread the word.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. So you went in. We started the show 5 months ago, and in the beginning, in every show, I talk about everything's the same. The cardiac system. What can you do? Check your vital signs. What tests do you do? Echocardiogram, right? Echocardiogram, and we do that coronary artery calcium score.
Yeah.
And a lot of guys end up getting a stress test, so you had all three.
Correct.
Okay, let's review it because you're allowing me to do it.
Yeah,
the good news is you're fine.
Yeah.
You're a happy guy. But here's the deal. If you never went to this, you're on a medicine right now.
Yep.
Because of this.
Right.
So they did the common things are common. I always talk about the left ventricle, and I always talk about the plaque. You indeed have plaque in the artery, and you have a number it's a 43. The number goes from 0. There are people that have 0.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And then it goes up. We had a guy today, not a steroid user, 65, not on testosterone. His score was well over 3,000.
Calcium score was 3,000?
Yeah.
So is that like almost completely blocked?
He's going to have, so if you look at the breakdown, he had about 60% of it in the right coronary artery, and the other 40%, is in the left. He has this guy, so we made the appointment already. He's stable. He doesn't need to go to the emergency room, but he already has an appointment that we set up next Wednesday to be seen by a very good cardiologist. And I'll tell you what they're going to do. They're going to make a decision pretty quick. Either go into the hospital and do an angiogram, or they're going to do what they did for you, echo and a stress test.
Okay.
But I'm going to probably push them to go directly into an angiogram.
Yeah.
Because they want to look at his artery. Because you have a 43 score, he has almost 4,000.
Wow.
Not a steroid user, and he has normal T, and his labs, you ready for this, are perfect. Wow. He's obese though. He's obese. He's a big, heavy guy. That's his only problem. He's got a little hypertension. He's on 10 milligrams of Cinepril, and he's on plus hydrochlorothiazide, and he's on a baby dose of Lipitor like you are now.
Okay.
And his labs today, his LDL is 55.
Is that good or bad?
He has all that plaque in his artery. So the take-home message is there are clearly other variables that lead to destruction and plaque buildup in the heart. So let's go back to yours. So you have a little plaque in there,
yep.
and it said, and he didn't. So that's a separate test, and I'm sure he worked that into your overall assessment, right?
Yeah.
But the big pieces they did for you, they did not a nuke stress, they did an echo stress. And it's interesting, sometimes they'll do an echo stress, they did a stress test and they use an echo machine, right?
Yeah.
So other times they shoot dye, they do nuclear tracer dye.
Oh, yeah, I don't want that.
It's just interesting. It's based on the expert doctor because they're basically equivalent, but most times you're going to see a nuke stress test, not a stress echo. But here are the guys at Big H, and they did a stress echo. Now, there's arguments if it's a woman, if it's a man, if they have diabetes, if their vessels are small, big, if they can't exercise. So they did it. You did a great. You went up to 87% of your age predicted max heart rate.
Oh, great.
You went 13 minutes on the treadmill, and they stopped it because you were at the. They brought you to where they wanted to go.
Yeah.
They got a lot of good pictures, and they stopped it because of just general fatigue. And you were done. They said we're done. 13 minutes. You did great.
Yeah, I don't like to run anyway. They had me running.
They crank it up, right? The belt.
Yeah, the thing was about this, like a 45-degree angle by the end.
The belt goes up, and then the grade goes up. It's called a Bruce protocol. But they had 12 lead ECG on you.
Yeah.
Well, they have a modified ECG. All those leads on your chest.
Yeah.
None of those changed, so that was good. You didn't have any changes. Your blood pressure response was very good. Some people have a hypertensive response to exercise, and that's bad. So this is all the clinical stuff. So on the stress test, you did really well.
Oh, good.
And then on the echo, you did have a little left ventricle diastolic wall abnormality. Did you see this?
No, I didn't see that.
So this is the good stuff, right? Because I'm the doc, so I have to go into the details.
Right.
So let's read that real quick because you want me to do this.
Yes.
So on the review here, it said, let me get this right here. So right ventricle was excellent functional exercise capacity for age, no ECG or two-dimensional echocardiographic changes, inducible ischemia, which means there's no blockages, normal hemodynamic response to exercise. These are huge, means your blood pressure went up normally, but not much. Now listen to this. mildly borderline dilated left ventricular cavity size may be normal for your body.
Oh, okay.
Now, so there's two ways to look at that. Remember, everything I talk about is the left ventricle, right?
Yeah.
And you did steroids for 20 years, and you're on TRT now. So your left ventricle wall is not thickened to the point where you have LVH.
Oh, good.
But when they looked at the way it's moving, they're not fully clear. And there's so many technical variations on this. They're not fully clear that you have a little bit of what's called diastolic dysfunction. So I'm not going to go any more in this. And the truth is, they're not sure for you. So it could be normal for your body size.
Okay.
But there are some doctors that would say to you, if you're hypertensive and you have anything like this with your left wall, your left ventricular wall, and you have any diastolic dysfunction, that's not normal. And if you want to live to 110, I'm just being honest, lose weight, don't do steroids, TRT's fine, but don't do super physiologic doses. And the last piece I want to throw in this is they started you on Lipitor because indeed we have to stabilize that plaque you have in the coronary artery. So these are separate issues. But one thing I would add, if they were here right here, we would have a respectful discussion, I assume. I would say, if you have hypertension, but I think you're telling me you don't have hypertension.
I do not. No, I do not.
Because they said one of the testings was you had systolic hypertension in the 150s.
Yeah, what happened was, I don't have a massive 23-inch arm, but they put a regular cuff on my left arm. You know, when I walked in and the nurse just did my vitals before the doctor came in a few minutes later, she put a regular cuff on my left arm, pumped it up, and what was it, like 150 over or whatever?
Yeah, 154 over 80 something.
It was 154 over 80 something. And then the doctor looked at it and I said, you know, you might want to try that again. He said, yeah, let me get a thigh cuff, which is a larger cuff. Yeah. And he did it again, and it was like 130 over 70. It went down drastically within.
So I told you there's two blood pressure checks they did on you. They did resting blood pressure, and they checked your blood pressure on exercise when you were way up there and your heart rate was way to the top. Okay. If your heart is getting in bad shape, and people as they get older and they get sicker and their hearts are breaking down, they have abnormal response hemodynamically with blood pressure to exercise. When I was back in the 1980s and 90s, I was an exercise tech. I was that guy that was looking at you. Yeah. And that was my job. So I learned the stuff intimately. So if your blood pressure responded perfectly, responding to the exercise incremental increased load.
Yeah. So other people it would have skyrocketed pretty quickly?
Or it doesn't go up. It's fucked up. It doesn't go up, and it's that's a very bad.
Yeah, that sounds worse.
It is worse. Because your ejection fraction is normal. Your left ventricle is perfect.
Oh, great.
The only question is that, and you have plaque in the artery. Yep. We have left ventricle and we have inside the coronary arteries. Yeah. Two different worlds, right?
Yeah.
Two different worlds. It's the heart, but they're two different worlds. So they're treating you and saying, sir, plant-based diet, don't eat meat, take Lipitor, get out of here.
Plant-based diet.
Okay, so they say that, but they're giving you Lipitor. This is what I've been saying for 6 months. This is in the end. And if you don't want to live on Lipitor, we're going to have to go. We'll see how you do. You just start it. We'll follow you. Yeah. If you do badly on it, we have other things we can do, but that's another show.
Yeah. I mean, the only risk that he cautioned me. He said you could have liver enzyme elevation. You could have, theoretically, they have to tell you the worst case scenario. Rhabdomyolysis you can get, but
it's just rare as shit though. But God bless him for telling you that. Yeah. So, we don't see that. I saw it once in my life.
Okay.
So I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm saying it's 1 out of 5. You can read the package insert.
Yeah.
It's in there.
Nobody reads that.
You can read it. 1 out of 5,000. Okay. So, but the big piece is this, Ron.
Yeah.
The only thing that I'm not saying they miss this. If you have something going on with a dilated left ventricle and whatever have you going forward, if you really are hypertensive, and if you're really are going to be on performance enhancing drugs, right? My thought is, you ready for this?
Yes.
My thought is, why don't we give an ACE inhibitor at night? And now I've had cardiologists tell me over years this is something that they would like to do, especially when you have LVH. But you don't have LVH, but you're going to repeat an echo. Probably in 3 years, they're going to repeat that echo. And if you have LVH in that 3-year period, you're going to be on sooner or later. If you have any kind of blood pressure, it's not perfect. They're going to put you on ACE inhibitor at night. One more thing. Yeah. One more thing. Aortic valve. You have mild to moderate aortic regurgitation.
What? What the hell's that? My heart's throwing up.
I'm not going to talk about it. You're going to go back. He's going to want to. Your valves. They have an aortic valve and a mitral valve. Those are the big valves in the heart. You have tricuspid and pulmonary. So the two big valves are aortic and mitral. You have a little bit of regurg where when it snaps closed, and then when it contracts against it, you have a little bit of back. It says right here. This is something. So you have mild to moderate 1 to 2 plus aortic regurgitation.
Huh.
So again, this has nothing to do with anything else. So they're gonna want to follow that over your life, because when you get to be an old man, the aortic valves and mitral valves, they can get dysfunctional and need to replace them.
Right.
Huh. But Arnold Schwarzenegger, bicuspid aortic valve.
He said his valves replaced twice, I believe.
Yeah, see that? He just had it a few weeks ago, a few months ago.
Yeah.
So again, he had a bicuspid mitral or aortic. I think again, this is cardiothoracic and cardiology stuff.
Yeah.
He had supposedly in his 40s, he was short of breath. He must have been like doing some filming and stuff.
Right.
And he went to the hospital, and they found out he had a congenital valve issue, and they switched it out. I think he has a pig valve in there.
I heard it was a pig valve. Yeah.
He didn't want to be on Coumadin. So Schwarzenegger has, and they went back in 20 years later, which is in the spring, in the winter this year.
Yeah.
I think he publicized it. He was coming out of the hospital, and they replaced his valve because it lasted that long.
Wow. Okay.
So, but this is Ron. This is not you. You're a good. Your valve's normal. You have a little bit of a floppy regurg. What you want to do is you want to just in another year or so, they're going to want to track that and just monitor it how it is.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a regular every 6 months. I see this guy now, so, you know.
So that's it. And he didn't mention that to you, though?
No, he did not.
You just want to follow. Again, so doctors are moving so fast.
Right.
He had so much stuff. He got the coronary arteries on you. He got the left ventricle. He says your heart's fine. You're good. Start Lipitor. Get out of here.
Exactly. No, I mean, he didn't see any real cause for concern. He said, let's get you on the Lipitor. Let's get you on the statin, and keep an eye on everything.
So we do know that statins, though, Ron, statins, in addition to obviously exercise and diet and all this stuff, it stabilizes the progression of plaque. It just does. No one can argue it. If you don't like drugs, if you don't want to take them, just shut the show off right now. I mean, just don't even do it. But if you want to integrate, Ron, exercise, if you're going to be on performance-enhancing drugs,
yes,
I mean, you better check this stuff closely, because you're going to end up, you could be another guy next. I see steroid users that have 0 plaque.
Wow.
I see more commonly steroid users that have full-blown disease already, because it accelerated it, Ron.
Right.
And you're okay. I mean, you had a 43. You could have had 0, but thank God it wasn't 400 or bigger. I told you we saw a guy today with almost 4,000.
Yeah, I mean, I feel fortunate, honestly.
You're doing good.
Okay. All right. Let's try to get through some questions, because they've been building up. These people want to hear from you, Doctor.
Let's go.
So, let me make sure you're centered up, because we could. Okay, you're good there. For a while, I was only seeing half of your face. We want to see the full. There you go. Okay. Swami is going to kick it off. His real name is Jeff. Swami says, I heard the Anabolic Doc talk about your calcium score. I just had mine done, and it was 78. Decent, but not great. I'm on TRT, 200 mgs of test, along with HCG and 1.0 milligram of anostrozole weekly. Never used quote-unquote illegal steroids, only TRT. But you can see the dose is pretty generous. I wouldn't call 200 milligrams generous, but okay. I'd call it pretty stingy. I'm 49 years, 5'7", and 190 or so, pretty lean. My question to you, or perhaps the doc, obviously I don't know anything, Jeff, you're going to have to ask the doc. Can you reduce your calcium score? If so, how? Or do you simply manage it and hope it doesn't get higher?
This was a great question right after yours.
Yeah. I'm curious. Can that be reduced?
Okay. You could stabilize it, and I'm gonna speak through what I've learned from the top cardiology doctors, because when someone gets a calcium score from me, the first thing they say is, how do I reduce it?
Right.
And like blood pressure, you reduce. But you can't, again, technically, you really can't reduce the calcium score. But what the calcium score tells us is that you have calcified, maturated plaque that is the gunky plaque right here.
Yeah.
This now is in the artery. Your body has calcified it to stabilize it. And if you have some calcium, if you have plaque like this one right here,
Yep.
and it's calcified, it doesn't matter because it's hardened and it's protected. Your body calcified, hardening of the arteries. It's a physiological process, pathophysiological. It is like scarring. Your body stabilizes it because it's something going wrong. But the irony is, as it stabilizes it and it's trying to grow this plaque and trying to stabilize and hold it, it's growing and it ends up doing that. No one could argue that, right? That's heart disease.
Question, doctor. The pharmaceutical industry, they're always looking for ways to make more money, obviously.
Yep.
Have they ever developed or attempted to develop a drug that could actually break up that hardened calcium?
Yes, they do. So they fibrolytic drugs, and there's some new drugs in the market. So once it's stable, if you have stable, okay, it's so complicated. And again, I'm not a cardiac expert biologically, so I'm trying to be careful for saying what I know, what I don't know.
Yeah.
The plaque has two pieces to it. It has a very rigid, hopefully stable, hard, calcified outer plaque, and then it has an inner region that could be soft, which is the gunky, fatty. That's that waxy plaque.
Sounds like a hard-boiled egg.
Yeah, it's a hard-boiled egg. I like that. Okay. So, and what they've told me, these are board-certified academic cardiology doctors that I work with all the time. They said, it looks like it's a burden of calcium that is proportional to the amount of obstruction in the artery, right?
Yeah.
If you have zero, there's no calcium that we're bouncing radiation off. So you have no calcified, it's calcium salts.
Okay.
There's no calcium. It's not calcified.
Right.
But and it's proportional, but there are pieces where you can have someone that has a number like yours or 40s or less than 400.
Yeah.
And they'll say, you might have had that scarring and calcification build up over years, and your body, for whatever reason, has calcified it, it's stabilized, and it's not going to block the vessel, it's not growing. We don't know. They don't know how to mark the progression of this. Not to mention, when do you do the next calcium score? You don't just do it next year. The experts are saying, you start the drugs, which now the goal is going to be to bring your LDL very low. I'm going to tell you right now, your LDL goal is going to be as low as you can get it. And that's going to be diet, exercise, plant-based, but I know.
Yeah.
And then the Lipitor is going to allow you to basically live a normal life, eat a hot dog, exercise, have your life, because you wait till you see how your cholesterol lowers on this drug.
Yeah.
And then the theory is, in part, one of the theories is the cholesterol theory. It's not the only goddamn theory to coronary disease. It's multifactorial. Right. Everyone, the cholesterol theory is wrong. No, jackass. It's only one part. I have to get angry. It's only one fucking part of the picture, guy.
Yeah.
So you need blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetes. Should I keep going? Smoking, too much steroids, bad genetics, stress. Good luck. Good luck with all of it. So you cannot roll back the calcium score. You don't need to. You need to stabilize that plaque from progressing like this.
Yeah. So
Lipitor statin drugs are well known in the clinical scenario, in the clinical position, to stabilize people from, if they had a heart attack and they go on a statin, and then they have less heart attacks in the future. No one could argue that.
Now, he had more to add to it that I don't think was really. He said, I want to add a little bit to this, as it should challenge the doc. There are several of us at work who did coronary calcium scans as part of a wellness program. A few people who were all north of 40 years old and one in his mid-50s scored a 0. 2 of them never worked out, including the guy in his 50s. His hobby is traveling the nation, sampling hot dogs. No joke.
There's the hot dogs.
But his heart is pristine. He's on 0 meds. Another guy has blood pressure and cholesterol through the roof. He's in decent shape, takes meds for both, but he scored a 0. Another guy was tested. He did cardio 4 times a week, weights 5 times a week. He was ripped and always eats lean protein, veggies, and fruit. His score was almost 500, and he is on statins. So my question is, does diet, exercise, or anything other than genetics matter?
All right, Swami. What did I just say? Multifactorial. This is genetics.
Yeah.
It's just freaking genetics, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, so if you have to look at it, we know this though. There are guys walking around there are skinny guys, and they have heart attack. I mean, there's a patient I'm thinking right now that's, let's see, 60, 61. He stands up, he works with his hands. He's not fat. He wasn't too bad with blood pressure, a little hypertensive, a little cholesterol. He had a massive heart attack.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know. The reason why I want people to do these is because if you're a man and you're 40 years old, you're a fucking walking heart attack right there.
Wow.
And depending on, it just is.
Yeah.
And depending on, then you start adding on the straws on the camel's back. Smoking, bad shape, not to mention stress, cholesterol, sugar, blood pressure, right?
Yeah.
So, but look at the variability. The hot dog guy had a calcium score of 0. We have a guy who's in his 50s, big steroid user, right? I have hundreds of patients, right? Hundreds.
Yeah.
Big steroid user, and we go, okay, he's going for the calcium score. Holy shit, what's it going to be? We're all like a nail biter. 0.
See?
And I have another guy who's a kidney failure, like the fact, like I have a couple of these guys, unfortunately.
Yeah.
His kidneys are in failure. He's living with a creatinine of 5. He's holding off dialysis. It's a different guy than the other guy we're talking. What's his calcium? His kidneys are gone. He's steroid user for 30 years. What's his calcium score?
0 again, my goodness.
So, and then I have other guys that are like, skipping to work and they're happy and they have and they have calcium scores. The guy today's calcium score is north of 3,000. So,
still walking around.
Genetics. It's just genetic. I think we're going to discover in the cardiac world, and the steroids have nothing to do with this.
Yeah.
There's nothing to do with these guys I'm talking about. None of these guys are on steroids. It almost looks like steroids are protective. Let me think about that. Maybe.
Wow.
I mean, TRT may end up being protective, actually.
Oh, I would believe that for sure. I mean, there's enough studies published that show low T puts you at greater risk for a lot of different issues. So I could see where having normal T would be, preventative measure health-wise against a lot of common ailments that
it's true.
Befall us men as we age.
So Dr. Morgan, someone you and I both know, sent me an email notifying me of the study. It came out. It was a paper. It was done by Abraham Morgenthaler from Harvard.
Yep.
And there it was. The data they compiled showed that in the end, there's no risk for TRT on the heart. Matter of fact, they feel it may actually be protective.
Wow, excellent. Go away. Go, Dr. Abe.
Yeah, so that's your guy.
Yeah.
So it's common sense. If you take tons of Tren, if you take tons of equipoise and test and wince and all this stuff, your HDL goes low.
Right.
Is that going to hurt you? How about all your other variables? So you're just guys who have bad genetics for heart disease. It looks like to me that when they do steroids, they're hypertensive and they have low HDLs, persistent, chronically low HDL.
Yeah.
You're just taking a risk. But I mean, so could you take statin drugs and take steroids and ACE inhibitors and we don't? I do this all man per man.
Right.
I treat men with this stuff very carefully because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. Did I answer Swami's question? Genetics, Swami.
Genetics. It's all genetics, Swami. The hot dog guy.
It's genetics. And I have one thing to say to Swami. Hey, Swami, can you please make sure the guy that's got the 500 score goes see the cardiologist?
You would think he would, right? Well, said they got the test at work. They all got a They all went and got I don't know what he does for work. Maybe he's in the
I
medical.
think I know who this guy is, but I'm not going to even lead into it because we'll just leave it alone. But
Okay.
I mean, the guy's got a 500 score, almost a 500 score. Please tell me you're going to escort him to a cardiologist somewhere good.
If you're any kind of a friend, you would.
I mean, because you have a 40 score, he's got a 500 score. I mean, he's going to need what you've had. He needs a stress test.
Yeah.
He'll need the echo. He'll need the follow-up. He'll need to treat blood pressure and cholesterol, not to mention maybe diabetes. Who knows?
And I mean, he should be. If you have a 500, wouldn't you automatically want to put someone like that on a statin?
No, that absolute. I mean, see, this is we're trying to develop the guidelines with the cardiac guys. The basis, the question. Look, your guys did it.
Yeah.
Those are guys at Harvard. I mean, you had a 43 number, and they were like, start a statin.
Right.
And the guys at Harvard, they're not idiots there. Like those guys are using. They know. They weren't shocked that a 45-year-old. How old are you? 49.
I'll be 49 in September. Yeah.
They were not shocked that a 49-year-old man, with or without the steroids, they could care less, comes in with a little plaque in his artery. How many men that are 49 years old in this country are walking around with the beginning of heart disease in their arteries already?
You tell me. 70%, 80%, 90%?
We don't know. I would say the majority, which is over 50%.
Okay.
Because I just see the average bear comes into me, steroids or no steroids. The average 50-year-old bear doesn't have a 0.
We have a multi-part question, so this is going to definitely take the rest of the episode. Because this guy wrote to me a couple weeks ago. His name is Mark Lynch from Massachusetts. I don't think I should name the place he went to. Back in October, I went to Blank Medical Group in Saugus, Mass. I was having symptoms of low energy, low sex drive, constant fatigue. I got some blood work done at Blank Medical Group that does TRT protocols. Some of my readings were as follows. Sex hormone binding globulin serum was 12.4. Total test was 349. Free test was 24.5. My LH was 7.2. My FSH was 2.5. They ended up giving me a test protocol of 200 milligrams per week of test sip once per week, and then anastrozole and HCG 3 times per week. I did this for 3 months and decided it wasn't for me. I was sick of sticking myself with a needle. The medical group staff was resistant to me getting off of it. So Dr. So-and-so, who's in charge of the clinic, told me to quit everything cold turkey for 2 weeks. Then he started me on a post-cycle protocol, HCG 3 times per week, Clomid every day for 1 month. After this 1 month was up, I decided to go to an endocrinologist for some advice. The endo had me do blood work 1 month after being completely off everything, 1 month after the post-cycle treatment ended. My readings were as follows. Free test, 28.8. Sex hormone binding globulin, 14. Total test, 145. HCT, 47.6. And HGB, 16.4. As you can see by the numbers, my SG, HB, and free test hasn't really changed. However, my total test took a nosedive. The endo is having me go back for more blood work in another couple of weeks, which will take me to 2 months of being off everything. This time he'll also check my LH and FSH levels. I got off the test protocol because I was sick of sticking myself the needle, and I was worried I would become infertile. Even though Blank Medical Group told me that taking the HCG while on the TRT keeps me fertile, and then the PCT of Clomid and HCG helps with fertility. I do have a beautiful daughter, but I do want another kid. I suppose I should get sperm tested. My question to you is, and he's actually got 5 questions. Question number 1. Is there a natural test booster out there I can take you would recommend just to get me a kickstart? Now, we've been over this.
No, I don't know of any. I'm just going to try to be like yes, no on some of these.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay,
No.
2. Does
And the thing, but hold on.
Yep.
You went to an anti-aging place. I'm not going to be a hater, but like the guy had low normal testosterone, the total and the free.
Yeah.
I mean, he was tired. Just because a guy's tired and feels fatigued, it doesn't mean it's low T. I mean, just saying.
Right.
But most guys want to go on TRT. They got to have low numbers, low normal. And in the end of the day, testosterone for guys that have normal levels, I can tell you something it's pretty much guaranteed to do. You're going to be really horny. And hold on, and that's normal guys that have normal testosterone. So if you're using it, I'm entering into a field where I'm saying you got to be very careful. I have a medical license. They're not low T, but are you using testosterone? Anti-aging, we're not. anti-aging stuff. You don't want to anti-age, you want to party. But if you want to have a great quality of life and you want to have great sex and you're tired and you're going to take testosterone for an aphrodisiac, that's a different story. I just wish they would tell guys. But there's no data to say that you're on testosterone. And yes, if you take HCG during it, you're going to be fertile. We all know in the bro science world that certainly can work. But you're also there's no studies on it. And we all know, the real bro science guys know that you could be further demise to your testicles, and then you need a lot of HCG. Start playing so, and we don't know, I saw the doctor's name, I know the place is, we're not going to say it.
Yeah.
Truth is, they're an anti-aging place. They give most people just pretty much what they want, and most guys go on, they feel quite happy. I don't like giving the aromatase inhibitors, because it can cause HDL to go low.
Tank, yeah.
I've seen so many guys with problems with that drug, with heart disease. Remember the multifactorial stuff, right? It's never just that. It's everything. So, but why would you want to do it? And why would you want to venture into a place where you're in medicine where there's no data? Well, testosterone, right? That's it. But all the other drugs like that, Ron, there's no data for that. That's what I want to say.
Okay. Number 2, does low test mean I am infertile?
No, absolutely no. I've seen guys, and this is urology data. Guys who have low testosterone's thinking cap has to go on. Endogenous testosterone comes from the testicles, from support from the pituitary gland, from the LH and FSH. Testosterone is made from the serotonin cells, right? Both of those. There's testosterone and semen. It comes from inside the testicles, and there's an intratesticular blood. There's a level of testosterone in the balls, and there's a level that goes out into the bloodstream, right?
Yeah.
Do you realize it's 100 times higher? Endogenous testosterone is 100 times higher inside the testicle than it is inside the blood.
Huh.
Because and that environment is what you need to have normal spermatogenesis.
Oh, okay.
So the truth is, and I've seen this, steroid users coming off steroids, most of them are not actually infertile. They just can't get it up. Doc, my semen count was normal, but hey, I told the doc, my semen count's normal, but I can't get my cock up to get it in there.
Yeah.
So I can't deliver.
That could be a problem.
So it's like, because your testosterone in your brain is low.
Yeah.
Because he's been on steroids for so many years, he just likes to live at a very much higher level, so his brain changed. That's my whole stuff with anabolic steroid-induced hypogonadism. So if you can get his penis erect to get it to deliver, I've seen the semen analysis with guys who have low T. They're not all devastated. Now, some are dead. Most steroid users, after 10 years of living on a lot of steroids, when they go to check their semen analysis, which I have 3 guys right now we're working on, the semen is there's none in there, and they're all dysmorphic, and they're basically pathologically damaged. But now, who are those guys? How long have they been off testosterone and steroids when they go to that lab for that semen analysis? Typically, not long. So they're not giving it a chance to come back or use HCG by itself. The answer is there's typically, obviously, a relationship with low T and low sperm counts. It is true, but not necessarily. You don't need much sperm. The number actually is 15 to 20 mils of sperm, 15 to 20 million sperm per milliliter.
Okay.
That's your base, and the average bear, apparently, normal man has about 40 to 70 million. So you can be fertile if you have 15 to 20, even lower. Yeah. But your chances I do this all the time with guys. I see semen analysis. I don't even check semen analysis that much, because you get a guy off steroids, you give him HCG, how you doing? Hey, go hang out with your wife for a little while. All of a sudden he goes, hey Todd, thank you so much. She's fertile. Hopefully she holds up past the first trimester. There's no spontaneous miscarriage, and she does well, and then we put her back on TRT. So you don't need all this crazy AIDS, but I'm going to just give it to people. I'm going to tell you guys what the real deal is. So you definitely can low test mean I'm infertile? The answer is no. But if you do have low test, you're most likely going to have a lower sperm count.
Hmm. So you're okay. So you'll be a little less fertile, probably.
Yes.
Okay. His next question. I don't know if we just kind of. No, we didn't really say this. Would I be able to gauge my fertility based off LH and FSH levels?
Wow. What a great question. I'm not a fertility urologist, so I'm going to say I don't think so. But typically, if a man who's intact, a normal fertile man who has no other disease states apart from steroid use, you're going to see LH and FSH. Yeah, they're going to be. They always check it. They should be normal. Your testosterone total and free should be normal. And then your semen analysis, it will be normal. But if you have a problem with your pituitary and hypothalamus area because of steroid use, you will see the LH and FSH are not going to be normal. So the answer to that is yes, you can gauge fertility indirectly by pituitary gonadotropins. Answer is yes.
Okay. Part 4 of his question. I've heard from guys in the gym who have done way more stuff than just TRT in way higher amounts than me, and were still able to get their old lady pregnant.
I love that. Oh, get my old lady pregnant.
Old lady.
You can get your lady. You can get your.
Is it biker?
See, that's in Northeast. You say that stuff only from the, because I have so many guys all around the country now. This is New York and Boston. My old lady. Is that your mom or your wife? I mean, you want to get your old lady pregnant? Okay, so what do guys do? I mean, HCG. It just, yes. So how are the guys in the gym getting their old ladies pregnant? They're just using some HCG. Or when you're 20-something years old, you just stop the steroids for about 20 minutes.
Those are the days.
And how about 2 days? Or you just switch the cycles around? I'm not kidding. It's just, it takes a long time to beat a young man down. These guys, you know, Ron, they don't have these fucking problems the first year, 2 years. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I remember vividly. Yeah,
You have kids?
Yeah, I mean, I would take. Yeah, none of them were planned. They weren't planned. But trying to remember, was I on anything? No, I was clean.
Probably were.
I was lifetime drug free when I got my wife pregnant the first time, and the second time I'd been off everything for about a year. About a year, yeah. There was, you know, I say 20 years I've been using it, but there were a couple times in there where I would take.
You look good in that 24-year-old picture, Ron. You look good, the 24-year-old.
Yeah, not a line
like
on my
model.
face. Oh, what happened? Anyway, but yeah.
Like a model guy.
What happened?
But you know, Ron, so guys come off. If a young man comes off steroids, he it's like the boat will try to get itself right again. Yeah. I mean, you don't need HC. This day and age, and so guys are so, I need to do my post-cycle. I need to, and I don't know, I guess. So the answer to that is the guys in the gym, they're getting their old ladies pregnant. HCG. It's nothing new. It's nothing new. HCG.
Okay. Let's see, last part of his question is, if in fact my fertility is low, what is the best solution for this? I've scoured research to find the most natural forms possible. Would HMG work?
You don't need HMG. HCG is all you need. Clomid, no one uses Clomid unless you're coming off the classic Bill Llewellyn protocol. Yeah. But Clomid, Clomid can work. So Clomid, HCG, dirt cheap, and no one really needs to go to HMG, but you can go to HMG if you're resistant. But you know what we found? It's really hard to get HMG.
I don't even know what is HMG.
Human mammillary gonadotropin.
Mammillary.
It's a more pure form. Maybe some bro scientists can tell us exactly why it's, you know, the difference. I mean, it's derived and produced differently, and I don't think it's recombinant, but I think it's you know, it's just a higher kind of a quality, and it's probably more potent, and it's been out there in the bro science world for, you know, 15 years, 20 years. You know, I got real HMG. But the deal is, I use HCG, and I have only had 2 guys not get fertile in 10 years.
Wow. Okay. So that was all his questions. At the end, he just said, as you can see, I have a lot of anxiety over this, especially the fertility issue. Also, I'm feeling the effects of my total test taking a nosedive. I'm fatigued and tired all the time. My workouts have been awful. Fortunately, things in the sack with my old lady have been fine. I'm a cop, blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Here we go.
That's it. You answered all his questions. We're good.
Here we go. The disparity between the total and free, I don't know. I mean, your free testosterone is normal. That's why you're doing pretty good with the old lady in the sack.
Yeah.
Because your free is the real biological, component that crosses the blood-brain barrier. So your free is normal. I hope this poor guy doesn't go down later. There's something with the accessory binding globin. There's something with the test and their doc is doing the right thing. Yeah, you know what? Come back in a couple months, we'll recheck everything. Right. You're not going to see that total T stay down there. It's going to go back up because he wasn't on for too long.
Right.
So and now the second part, I'm answering every question. The second part of that question, or the 10th part of the question,
yeah.
The guy's got malaise and fatigue, sir. That's why I'm not trying to get business from this guy, please. That's why you need a history, physical exam, detailed laboratory assessment, and a review of systems by a very good doctor who's an internist, because, Ron, not every guy that has malaise and fatigue has low T.
I think those TV commercials have really done a number on guys.
Yes.
It shows some guy, he's looks like he's in a coma on his couch or something. And this question, it'd be a big graphic. Low T got you feeling down?
It's just it's just bullshit. And low T's real. And if you have low T, let's see if it is, and let's treat it. It's true, and let's manage you very carefully, because most guys. That's why I say we're not the brightest bulbs in the tree. Us men, you give testosterone to men, even men that are normal, they get really horny.
Yeah.
Ron, am I right or wrong?
You're right.
So, and the studies have proven it. Remember back in the 80s, Ron, doctors weren't sure there was scientific evidence that steroids built muscle tissue.
I just did I do this thing called Ask Ron, and I had a Muscle and Fitness from 1980, and there was an article in Women's Bodybuilding. It said, some women are starting to experiment with steroids. They said some male bodybuilders are known to use steroids, and there's no evidence that they really even do anything, but the bodybuilders think they do, so they keep taking them.
It's a placebo.
What a load of bullshit that was.
So this is, I think, what we're going to see, like in the future, relative to that, is like it's an aphrodisiac for men.
Yeah.
But if you have depression, or if you have something else going on medically or psychiatrically, there's many. This is what I do, Ron. I love to just really get deep into each man's scenario and find out what it is and what it isn't. And in the end of the day, obviously in my clinic, most guys come low T from steroids, or they have low T from opioids, opioid use. I have a growing number of guys coming in that are young that have been on opioids, Ron.
Yeah.
And depression and PTSD from the war, and they have low T, and I carefully manage them and treat them, and most of them in the future they get pretty horny and they feel pretty good, but they still have residual issues with depression, anxiety, and PTSD, Ron.
Yeah. Just curious, the opioid thing. Do these people, if they say somebody's an OxyContin addict or heroin addict and they have low T, is that a temporary thing that can bounce back if they get clean?
Wow. We have to announce this. So many guys are coming in with low T from opioid. I have, Ron, 15 or 20 of them now.
Wow. Okay.
And those steroids, they have low T. Doc, I got tested. My doc, they're going to treat me with, they always give Androgel. Yeah. Here, look, I'm low. I'm 23 to 33. Okay, well, what's your medical? Well, I'm on Suboxone. I'm on methadone, or I'm trying to get off heroin. They snort heroin.
Right.
Ron, this is real, buddy.
Yeah.
This is a real problem we have in this country.
Oh,
and doctors don't know that opioids, and then the medicine, the medicinal opioids, Suboxone and methadone, they destroy the testosterone androgen level. And not to mention, they destroy the guy's libido. Ron, I have a couple guys right now, they're on Suboxone and methadone, and they have another doctor prescribing that. And I'm like, sir, look, his libido's not good. Doc, I'm on testosterone. It's a little better come on, doc, my levels are higher now. What's going on? Sir, you have depression and you have, you have also an opioid dependency. This is complicated stuff, Ron.
Yeah.
So I work with other doctors, and what I'd like to see, there's a guy actually with a progressive place somewhere in this country, and they're taking their men, again, these are just men, all their men, they're taking them slowly and steadily off methadone and Suboxone, Ron, and they're using psychiatric drugs, other drugs, very common, depending on their mood disorders, and working with me and giving, because they all have low T, we're giving testosterone, and we're getting off the other medicines, Ron, and I swear and they're doing psychotherapy, they're doing cognitive behavioral, and I hammer on these guys. I mean, I love these guys. I love all my patients. Yeah. And I hammer on them, and Ron, they're coming out and they're doing great.
Wow.
But this is dangerous, Ron, please, because they can relapse at any time. I've been through a dozen suicides, Ron.
Wow.
Just because I take care of people that have, we're people, man. We have issues. People have issues. I mean, people have depression. It's real stuff.
Right.
I don't know.
Well, doctor, we've been going on for a while.
That's it.
Spent a lot of time focusing on me, Ron Harris. Thank you very much.
It's about you, Ron.
It's all about me this week. Now, I appreciate you going over those because, the doctor, like you said, the doctor, he's got a billion patients, and I don't think he had the time or the inclination to go over every little detail like you did with me. So I definitely appreciate that, doctor. Good to know. I'm going to keep taking my statin every morning.
Good man.
I'm not going to eat a plant-based diet, sorry to say. Might use a little more than TRT for steroids now and then. Not going to lie to you, doctor.
I have still love going on.
But, my Shih Tzu's getting older, so I might get a poodle eventually. Yeah, I'm open to the idea. Let's put it that way.
We'll talk about the mountain bike.
We'll see. All right, doctor. Thank you so much. That wraps up another one. I'm glad we got to those questions, too. These guys have been waiting. So, everybody, don't forget, get your copy of America on Steroids, A Time to Heal, on Amazon.com, or you can get it on the doctor's websites, anabolicdoc.com, metabolicdoc.com, which also has links to all the doctor's social media, his YouTube channel, everything you need to know to keep up with Dr. Thomas O'Connor and all the good work he's doing out there for guys like us. Doctor, thank you so much, as always. And we'll talk to you guys next week. Thanks for watching.